Hey guys, thanks for checking in. Looking at Romeo Doubs, wide receiver for the Green Bay Packers this week, had a very good game against the Dallas Cowboys in the wild card round, and a lot of it came back to great route running and technical skills. So I want to go over two of the different routes that he ran. This first one here is going to be a slant in the red zone against off-man inside coverage. All right, the other one's going to be a crossing route. And what we're really looking for here, so with him being top of the screen, you really need to sell that you're going up the field and you need to get this defender to at least jump back in the direction of the deep area of the field. All right, a lot of these off man inside coverage players, what they like to do is they like to look inside and they like to sit on this slant route. All right, they don't like to give up the slant. They like to sit here because if you run the slant and they can come down on it, they love to be able to knock that ball away. All right, and really take that away. That's also the point of the inside coverage. You should be able to take away the slant. All right. The main key points for a slant from the wide receiver, like I said, you have to drive up the field and get them to turn their hips. All right. The only way that you can do that, though, is if you actually sell that you're running deep. All right. It doesn't do you any good if you take two really short steps and then you make the cut right here, because if you do that, they have so much room to be able to drive and come down the field. You have to threaten them and get into this space that's really close to them. All right, so Romeo Doubs here, we're going to see him do a really good job of getting up to about that 12, almost 11-yard line, and that's really going to get him into that space of 5 yards up the field, right? So if they're going from the 16-yard line and he gets to that 12, 11, that's a good 5 yards that he now travels up the field, and when he does that, he's going to get Deron Bland to turn his hips, all right? Now, what we have, when he does that, we'll see this from the other side, is he keeps these shoulders square. Okay, when you keep the shoulders square, the defender doesn't know where you're going. All right, so he keeps the shoulders square as if he's traveling up the field. Like I said, maybe Deron Bland has seen this before. He thinks that he's running a fade to the back corner, or he's going to run, a corner route to the back pylon. Something to that effect that he's seen on film before, so he does a good job disguising it. So we see two long, hard steps, and then that third step is where he's going to win this route. All right, once he gets to that point, now as we're hitting that third step, we need to be able to make this cut hard in one step and then get down and inside. Okay, we can't take this and then kind of drift up the field. That's where he is. We have to come hard down across the field. Now the way that we can do that is by planting the foot in that direction, and he does a really good job. We'll see this as he plants that foot. That toe is going in this direction, and along with that hip, it's going to allow everything to turn very sharply. And while he does this, all right, his shoulders and his head are going in this direction. All right, so Deron Bland, looking at the whole picture here, sees hips in one direction, but shoulder and head up here. So now that's going to freeze him. You see him backpedal a little bit, and then he gets stuck right at this point. He skates back, but now he has to try and turn and chase, and by that point, Romeo Doubs has already passed him, stays inside, and is able to box him out and make that catch. All right, so for that off man inside, like I said, you have to sell that you're going up the field, get them to skate back just a little bit, and then that step has to be pointed in that right direction, and we have to make a sharp cut to get inside of this defender. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Okay, so really good job on that route. The other route that we're going to have is going to be, it looks like an over route, and it's really going to be back into a corner. So it's essentially like a post corner, but it starts off as a crossing route. So we're going to see Romeo Doubs here, and he's going against Steph Gilmore, who's one of the best man cover corners in all of football. All right, so one thing he does right off the bat is when he's lined up here, he switches his feet. All right, so for some guys, whenever your inside foot is typically up on the ball. So since he's on the right side of the football, his left foot, which is the closest foot to the line of scrimmage, should be up. But he switches his feet. I've told some of my receivers in the past, if you're going to have press coverage and you need to get inside, it's okay to switch the feet. All right, you can switch those feet up, because we're going to see the first step that Romeo Doubs is going to take as he comes off the ball is he takes that inside step, and now that allows him to get inside and get a clean release off of Gilmore. So now Gilmore gets into a chase position. All right, that's a tough position to be in, all right, especially on a crosser looking route. So now that he's in this chase position and Romeo Doubs beats him with speed, then we'll see from the backside in this, Stephon Gilmore gets completely lost. There's so much distance here, and we're going to see why from the other side. All right, so when we get to this position here, as he's going hard across the field, Gilmore has to get behind him, and he's in chase. All right, but he's looking as if he's attacking down the field. All right, so the safety sees, Jordan Love looking in that direction. He also is going to see Romeo Doubs looking in this direction. So he's selling it that he's full throttle going over here, and then he does a very good job of turning that head to look for the football. Okay, so he turns to look for the football. Gilmore sees that, so he's trying to race to get to this inside position, knowing he has the safety help. So he's trying to squeeze in here, all right, because if he can squeeze in here, then he's hoping to force an overthrow, which would lead right into the safety. So it's a good job by him on the coverage, but Romeo Doubs just does a better job of, right as he gets to this position, he looks for that football and then snaps his head, and then he snaps these shoulders down over the knees and over the body, and that's going to allow him to start to slow down a little bit. And when he's able to do that, he is going to pitter-paddle his feet and keep working his legs to turn and get out of that break. Okay, probably could have done a little bit of a better job if we're going to nitpick here of throwing the hips down a little bit more. He kind of loses balance, but overall it's an incredible route. And, right as he gets to the spot, he does a good job of continuing to turn those feet to get himself back out in this position. This is an incredibly hard route to run because when you're going full speed in here, to try and turn back around is very challenging, but he does a really good job of it. So really good technical skills by him, to look in the direction of where you want to go, peek back at the football, and then snap that head down to then turn and get out of there. So overall, two really good routes. This is exactly why he had such a good game. He's had such an incredible season, and excited to see him this weekend against the 49ers. Thanks, guys, for checking in. If there's certain players you want to see, put them in the comments section. All right, like and subscribe. We have new videos every week featuring some of the best players in the league.